Okay. So did it work?
Yeah, yeah. No, no, no. Live is not working. We are
Okay.
doing the session.
Okay. All right. All right. So we start once again.
Yeah.
Okay. Hi, and once again, welcome to the this episode of podcast.
Thank you.
Hi to our another friend who just joined, and yeah, he's saying that hi everyone. I finally got in. Welcome. Okay, so in this episode, we are talking about WordCamp Europe and also WordPress journey of Anne and her some insights about accessibility also, I guess. We know that she's an expert. So before we get started, I wanted to read her quite read a brief introduction about her. So I was uh, reading about Anne on different platforms on her WordPress.org profile and her website, and it's quite impressive. So I just want to read a few lines from there. So uh, about Anne. So Anne is not just a name, she's a beacon of change in the WordPress community. As part of the sponsors team, Anne works closely with our generous sponsors to ensure an enjoyable WordCamp Europe for all involved. For inquiries regarding to sponsorships, you can contact the team. And so I just read it from WordCamp Europe website.
Mhm.
And now I'd like to go from her bio on WordPress.org. So yeah, third consecutive time WordCamp EU, WordCamp Europe co-organizer. So I wanted to know, where was your role similar the previous years as well, or you worked in other roles, the 2022 and 2023? In
It's been sponsored team 3 years in a row.
oh wow, wow.
So the first year was the first in-person WordCamp
Uh-huh.
again after
COVID.
we had all been locked up in COVID.
Yeah.
And actually it was Take, who I mentioned in a conversation before we started recording,
Mm-hmm.
who asked me like, hey, wouldn't you like to join? And I was like, yeah, sure, but I'm not sure if I'm the right person for that.
Mm-hmm.
And he says, just come along because we think you are. So I went along,
Mm-hmm.
and after a couple of weeks, I got really angry, and I called him, and I'm like, "Are you crazy? Do you know that there is a very, very valid reason why people who are in organizing teams of a flagship event
Mm-hmm.
have to have certain base experience? I mean, I have experience organizing conventions and stuff, but I didn't have the
Mm-hmm.
experiences yet for organizing a larger WordCamp. And I said to him, I'm running into this wall of unwritten rules. I'm vocal about that. I am making people nervous because
Uh-huh.
I open my mouth. I have a big mouth. And he's like, yeah, good. That's exactly what we need. So I was like, okay. I found it a fantastic experience to be working with such a
Uh-huh.
large group of people that is suddenly like even growing bigger in the days before
Yeah.
the event itself. It's this big machine of people who many haven't worked with each other in the years before, but a lot of us,
Yeah.
we know each other.
Yeah.
We know each other from social media or other events, and most importantly, it's oh, what's that? I'm moving my hands, and then all these things happen here in Zoom, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, it's so fantastic that you also get to talk to the sponsor companies, and you get to
Mm-hmm.
to to interact with companies on another level than just being their customer.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so like so many people did at the end of WordCamp, I was like, I'm tired. I'm not going to do it again,
Well,
but I did it again. So we did it for Athens, and it was fun because part of our team, and especially our team lead back then, was the same lead. So we had quite some experience in the team. And then in the third year, again, we have people in our team who have experience from the previous years, and that really helps. That's wonderful.
Yeah. I can totally relate to that, to what you just said, that, oh, I'm tired, I cannot do this again. It happened to me as well. So yeah, in 2022, I joined WordCamp Kathmandu, our
Mm,
local WordCamp, as a speaker wrangler. And the experience was so rich and insightful for me, as it was the first time I was organizing a WordCamp. But by the end of the event, I was so tired. Uh, we used to have rehearsal sessions for the first time speakers. We try
mm,
to help them improve their speaking, improve their presentation. So, like for a month or 2 months, we were busy every weekend uh, looking at the rehearsal sessions. And so I was. I said, okay, I'm very, very tired. But yeah,
mm.
like you said, I joined another year as well, 2023 as well. And I might join again in 2024, but it's not
Okay.
announced yet. So yeah, it's like, I think
Mm.
once you are part of the community, you feel some sort of you feel like, okay, that's your responsibility, I think, in some way. And in another way, I think you feel uh some sort of I don't know, it's like a responsibility or love, or you feel so connected with the people who are doing the job, and so you like to go. So it happened with me as well, so I can totally understand you feeling that. And I think you would be doing that quite more often in the coming years as well.
Who
uh
knows? Who knows? Because this year I almost declined. Well, at the end of last year, because when I
uh-huh.
was in Athens, I said, no way, no way, no way. Now it's over. It's too much time.
Yeah, yeah,
Because a flagship is crazy.
yeah,
You have between 2,500 and 3,000 people
yeah,
to take care of. Um, and it was eating my time. It was swallowing my time like crazy.
yeah,
And so
yeah.
I was talking to my friends from grade, that sign you see in the back.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and they were having me along, invited me to their team meeting because I'm
Uh-huh.
advising them on accessibility of
Mm,
their
right.
product, the output. And they're, you're gonna do this next year, right? And like, no way. No way. This is because it's so intense and it is so many hours, and I love it. And
Uh-huh.
they are the family and friends I never knew I had.
Yeah.
But to do this on volunteer hours,
Mm-hmm.
this goes into the thousands. People have no idea what, as a volunteer, and you know it, you know how many hours you spend.
Mm-hmm.
If you start calculating the hours that you spend,
Mm-hmm.
it's going crazy. You are basically juggling in non-billable hours, and this is a topic a lot of people don't really like to speak about because, like,
Yeah,
ooh, this
yeah,
is,
yeah,
ooh, that's business. But it's about business. Most of us are volunteers, but we have
yeah,
companies. We do not always have sponsors.
yeah.
And then the
That's
people
right.
from Grade, they said, but what if we would sponsor a good chunk of your time next year?
Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
Would you apply?
Uh-huh.
And I was like, yeah.
Oh, so thanks to your friends from Grade,
Mm.
for supporting your time this time, I think. Okay.
Yeah. And I actually hope this is something I would like to touch upon.
Uh-huh.
I've just seen a message from Courtney Robertson
Uh-huh.
from GoDaddy
Yeah.
that GoDaddy is going to work together on one of those wonderful collectives uh, for to fund
Mm-hmm.
underrepresented groups to
Right.
go to WordCamps. And the
Uh-huh.
first one they're doing it for is WordCamp US.
Great.
And I'm so grateful that they're doing that. And there's, of course, the Yoast Care Fund as well. But
Right.
it's, I wish there were more. I may sound greedy, but I wish there were more.
Yeah, yeah.
It's because for some people, this is the door to opportunity.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. And for WordCamp Europe, WordCamp US, I think there is one scholarship also, um, some Kim Parcel Memorial Scholarship, I guess.
Yeah, I saw that.
And
Yeah.
yeah. One of my friends was suggesting me to apply. I was thinking to apply, but yeah, like we already discussed, visa issues. So I checked US Embassy's website for country, and I found out that there is like about 1 year long wait time. So
Oh,
I'm no way going to make it, even though I will get that. Even if I get the
does
scholarship, I'm
that,
not going to make it. So I kind of dropped it.
does that mean you could never ever?
Yeah.
You can't because it's always a year.
Yeah.
Oh, that is, I wonder how, if people even know this.
I don't know. It's so hard. So I think for some other categories of visas, maybe for students and for residents there, maybe it's quite easy. But for travel purpose and for other purposes, it's really tough. And I think one of our friends from Nepal also had applied for speaking at WordCamp US last year, but he could not make it because he could not get an appointment for his visa.
I hope we get to do a WordCamp Asia in Kathmandu
Yeah.
one day, because
Hopefully,
this is
very soon.
yeah, Shiva said before he, I don't know if he's still here, but
He is
he
there.
said, yeah, we would like to speak a bit about women in WordPress and about underrepresented groups. And I think it's important to see also when people organize WordCamps. If you join organizing a WordCamp, of course, it's very difficult. If you are coming from another time zone, for example, it's a massive challenge.
Yeah.
On the other hand, it can give you that last bit of experience that you need to start profiling yourself or to get in touch with certain people, to get, because the people in the WordPress community are the most approachable in the world.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, and I think we can all help each other and support each other, and yeah, it's absolutely. And like, if you can't come to us, we're supposed to come to you.
Yeah, that would be really nice. All right. Okay, so I was actually reading from your bio, and yeah, let me just finish it. So yeah, I got the confirmation that you were in the sponsors team the previous years as well, and this is the third year. So I think you have plenty of experience of doing this sponsors team job, and I think that's one of the very important teams in WordCamp organizing. So yeah, N is accessibility and possibility advocate. Okay, so this is really interesting to me. Possibility advocate. I think it's the first time I'm reading something like this. Let's discuss this later. Speaker and okay. Someone once said, "Oh wow, you actually are a geek on heels." Okay, so I'm also interested on discussing this. Is it literally you are a geek on heels, or does it mean something else? Okay. I hope to discuss this as well. Okay, so
Mm-hmm.
I'm in love with logic. My brain goes faster than my mouth. Okay, and so sometimes I talk gibberish. I prefer to create quick screenshots to explain a problem or a solution rather than writing it down. Okay, so I think that's really, really beautifully written bio and quite interesting. So
Thank
yeah,
you.
if you'd like to share on possibility advocate and geek on heels part.
Okay, so possibility advocate.
Mhm.
That was a non-existing expression, I think. I just cooked it up.
Wow.
And this is because I come from a family of great minds, artists,
Mhm.
scientists, and what my parents and my grandparents taught us was do not start to think up all the reasons why you
Mhm.
can't do something. If
Mhm.
you want to achieve something, start thinking about what you need to do
Mhm.
and do not let yourself be discouraged by people projecting their own limitations. Now,
Oh,
that was a mouthful, right?
yeah.
But it's generally a thing. If you want to learn something, for example, nobody taught me how to build a website. I
Mhm.
just went in, I did all the
Mhm.
terrible things. I started to work with Microsoft Front Page in 1996 or something like that,
Mhm.
or 1997. I even didn't even put that in my bio. Um, I wanted to know how it works. And then, okay, so I learned how it worked. And then after a couple of years, CSS was introduced, and it was like, CSS, what's
Mhm.
that?
Mhm.
CSS.
Mhm.
Mm. And I had discovered IRC chat.
Mhm.
So, oh, how do I go into IRC chat? And I got all nerdy about that. And I went into IRC and I just started asking questions like, how does this work? Why does it work that way? Oh, you don't know that either? Come on, let's find out together. And that's thinking in possibilities. Like, what do I need to do? What kind of structure do I need for what or whatever? And it's like that with everything. If you, I mean, it sounds so I can't find the right word right now, but it sounds like a cliche.
Yeah.
And but if you set your mind to what you need to do to reach something, your mindset is different. And I know we all have obstacles.
Yeah.
I actually have a very big one that I didn't know I had until I was 49. I turns
Mhm.
out I've got ADHD on steroids,
Mhm.
which makes me fidgety and easily distracted. And
Uh-huh.
but it also gives me hyper focus,
Uh-huh.
and hyper focus gives me the possibility to dive into things really deep,
Mhm.
sometimes a bit too deep, rabbit hole stuff.
Yeah.
Um, And so this is why I started to call myself the possibility advocate, and especially in accessibility too. People are afraid, everything is coming at them like a tsunami. And I'm like, but you are able to do this because you do content. So you only have to work on the content, and
Mhm.
you only have to work on the code, and you
Mhm.
only have to work in the design. It is only it gives you possibilities to clear your mind and feel free to do something. Now, the geek on heel story,
Mhm.
that's another one. So
Okay.
when I started using WordPress, I wanted all kinds of things that apparently it couldn't do.
Mm.
And I found another open source crew called CMS Made Simple,
Mhm.
CMSMS for short. And they had all of it. They had the custom type, post types. They had multilingual, which
Uh-huh.
is something WordPress can do. It's actually where I met one of the very famous organizers from WordCamp. I
Uh-huh.
met Patricia Bruntor.
Uh-huh.
I met her at CMS Made Simple in 2012.
Uh-huh.
Anyway, so I was there, and the first year I was like, I want to do your PR and marketing because your website looks like crap, guys. Nobody's
Mhm.
believing you're a good system because your site looks like crap. I want to change that. It's And the first year they didn't trust me because they were afraid I was one of those marketing chickies that was going to say, you have to do that because I promised it. And then I finally got in. But the main developers, they were like, she's we're not so sure about that one. And then one day I crashed the site of my fantasy and science fiction group that I'd been a member of for many years because I love to read fantasy books. And so I went into the chat and I said, hey, Mr. Core Developer, his name is Robert. Robert, I have a problem with my site and it's your module doing that. Can you have a look? And he saw that site and he was like, let me call you. He had never called me before. Let me call you. He calls me and he says, I need you to hear this by my voice. You are a geek. You really are a geek in heels, aren't you? Oh, I'm so happy because I always thought you were this innie meanie who wanted to do slick marketing and social media and everything. But you really understand us. And I'm like, yeah, man. Now, the official expression is geek in heels, but that domain was taken. So I registered geek on heels because that's how the Dutch people would say it. So that's where the geek on heels comes from, and I do like to wear high heels. And yeah, I do because I always feel small, and I'd like to be tall. And yeah, so there's that.
Okay, thank you so much for sharing. It's so interesting, and I would love to meet you in person and see you.
Same.
See you, the geek on the heels. And also, I really liked your explanation about the previous thing, possibility advocate. So yeah, the way you said about some problem that you have, and still you are looking at the a positive side of it. So that's, I think, very inspiring.
Thank you.
Thank you for sharing. Okay, so now let's go to now we have learned what you have been doing currently and your role at WordCamp Europe briefly. I'd like to know a little more about how your journey with the wave, CMS and WordPress started, maybe chronologically a bit from where you started.
Okay, so after a few years, I came back to WordPress. I had been using CMS Made Simple and WordPress simultaneously, but it was the year of changes. We were getting smartphones, we were getting tablets, and suddenly we had to build responsive websites, responsive code, responsive designs. The problem was a lot of my customers at that time were like, yeah, I need that, but I'm not going to pay for it. So that frustrated me to no end, of course, because I did want to make money. I wanted to help my customers, but I was not going to create responsive stuff for them for free. So I went for the lookout, and then I started discovering WordPress commercial themes, and then I started working with a theme called Unfold. Little did I know at the time, that Unfold is a lovely project. It's very beautiful, but it's trying to be chocolate. And if you're trying to be chocolate, you're getting in trouble. But I didn't know that. I was just very happy in all my naivety because Unfold was fantastic. I told my customer, okay, so you're not going to get your super, super, super personalized custom design. You want to go cheaper? Fine. This is what you get. I will adjust it for you, and look, it's great on iPhone and on your tablets, and it's all wonderful. But at some point, I got frustrated about messing with someone else's work, having to use someone else's code, and I was learning more and more and more about code, and there was still part of me that was like, but I don't want to code. I want to create beautiful things. I want to make content. I want to. But then I was forced to get into that deeper and deeper and deeper. And at some point, I realized, okay, I cannot use these themes anymore. I can't use Enfold or Avada, no matter how powerful they are, because they're, to me, they were like this cruise ship where I only needed a sailboat. So, and then I wanted to have my creative freedom. And this is a big jump, but I'm not going to bore you with all the stuff in between. In I think 2017 or something, I discovered Elementor. And I was like, freedom. Now I can do everything. And in 2018, I was like, oh, yeah, I can get to mess with custom fields. I get to create custom post types. I can do dynamic data. Yeah, this is it. This is it, people. This is what I'm going to do. So I was using Elementor for everything. I got to know the people from Elementor. I became a volunteer at Elementor. I've been for 5 years. I got out of the about a couple of months ago, but I was with them for a long time. I've seen how they grew from 30 people to I think 400 something. An amazing bunch of people. But in 2020, I learned about accessibility. And I hope this gives people hope and that it empowers people because, hey, that's only 4 years.
Yeah.
And I've learned so much about it. And I'm like, if I can learn this with ADHD, with autism, with dyslexia, with not seeing well, I think more people can learn this. Right?
Yeah.
And it was because I saw this tweet from a very kind lady. She works for Microsoft. Her name is Lorene. And she had a tweet, I quoted somewhere on my website, that said, my father called me on the phone. He was crying. He was trying to navigate the web by himself for just 1 week without help. And he couldn't. My father is blind. If you are now wondering if your website is accessible, then it sure is not. Go learn. I cried. And I'm not that emotional. I have a big mouth, but this got to me. I'm like, I'm one of those people that doesn't do this right. And I did know some top stuff, like how do you say the surface stuff, like make sure your headings are in order, make sure you write alt text, whatever. But for the rest of it, I didn't know anything. And then I thought, okay, should I learn accessibility and become an auditor? Should I start guiding other people? And then I discovered within WordPress, which is a great vessel for that. Within the community, there are a lot of people very passionate about accessibility, like Amber and Christopher Hines and Steve Jones from Equalize Digital. They've created this fantastic plugin. You install it, it runs on your server. There is no sauce hanky-panky going on whatsoever. You install it in your WordPress website, and everything that can be found automated, they will find it, and they will help you to make your content accessible. That plugin is free. It's free. Whoa. These people are also working for NASA. And if you want their premium version, you need it because you have custom post types or you have login protected pages or whatever. But that's free. So I got to know them. Then there is Beth Hannon from Accessic Heart. And there are so many others. That community is strong, but it's small. It's small. There are not enough of us. And again, WordPress is such a great vehicle for this. And then I discovered, wait a minute, let's go from the outside in. Because us going to companies and talking to them and saying, hey, yeah, you have to make it accessible because. And I started thinking about tooling. And some tools have trouble working on getting more accessible, like companies like page builder companies. They have this massive code base, and they can't just go around changing stuff. What if they break? What if
Yeah.
they break sites?
Yeah.
There are millions of sites going down. So for them, it's like playing Mikado. You know that game, Mikado?
I don't know.
It's this game where you put all these sticks in a mountain, and then you
Uh-huh.
have to pull some of the sticks without everything falling down.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Okay, so or like whack-a-mole, you know that game?
Yeah, but I'm not much a game player, but I
Mm,
understand the concept now.
yeah. So whack-a-mole is what's happening to a lot of creators. And at the same time, within WordPress, within the project, people are thinking about accessibility. There's an accessibility team that could use a lot of new members. So
Yeah.
so if you want to know what that's like, come and talk to us. We're on Slack, we're on Twitter, we're everywhere. Um and then I decided, if we go from outside in to all these tools that
Mm-hmm.
provide us with means to create websites, but they have stuff that we can't touch
Mm-hmm.
under the hood, it's their responsibility to make sure
Yeah.
that it works.
Yeah.
It's just like with a car. If you buy a car, you don't
Uh-huh.
want to be thinking like, are the wheels coming off in the next days, or you know? So that's how I thought, okay, I'll position myself within WordPress, within the community, as that person that
Mm-hmm.
that kind of puts her claws in a friendly way
Mm-hmm.
into
Mm-hmm.
all kinds of companies. And what is amazing, I really have to tell you that, and everybody who's watching,
Mm-hmm.
most of these companies are really, really trying.
Okay.
They're really working hard. They are not only because it's becoming a legal obligation in Europe, the
Yeah.
same in
Yeah.
India, for example. Most people know
Mm-hmm.
about America, but they understand it because we are an inclusive community. Everybody
Yeah.
should be
Yeah.
able to tag along.
Yeah. 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 That's really nice to know. Okay, and thank you so much for your efforts to making it happen, for your advocacy, and for everything that you're doing to make the web better place, safer place, um, good place for everyone.
Thank you. We're all working on that, right?
Yeah. All right. Okay. So now you have touched on accessibility, how you got interested in it, and how you started. So maybe you can share, how about you share a few things about what makes accessibility really, really important, apart from the story about the tweet that triggered. So what other aspects, or why is it is so important for the web to be accessible? Maybe a few more points.
Well, one of the most confronting examples I can give you was in the days of COVID.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not going to let anyone forget about that,
Yeah.
because suddenly websites about it sprang to life. All kinds of apps were put out there for
Mm-hmm.
people to get their certificates and prove
Mm-hmm.
that they had their vaccination and whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know, 80% of all that was unusable for people using assistive technology like screen
Yeah.
readers.
Yeah.
Um, by the way, screen readers are not only used by people who cannot see or cannot see well, they're also used by people who have a severe case of dyslexia, for example,
Mm-hmm.
or people who are really, really tired, who don't want to read, who want to
Mm-hmm.
listen.
Mm-hmm.
There are
Mm-hmm.
also people who have tremors, who don't know, or who can't navigate by mouse or by
Mm-hmm.
trackpad or whatever. They will have to navigate by voice control.
Right. Right.
And all these people went forgotten.
Right.
Can you imagine it's you sitting in your house and you're
Mm-hmm.
not able to order your groceries online?
Mm-hmm.
You can't go outside because you would get sick, or you
Yeah.
would have other negative consequences from
Yeah.
that. Some people are really scared to go
Yeah.
outside for whatever reason. And if they cannot order anything online, what are we
Mhm.
doing to
Yeah.
our fellow humans? And the thing is, every time I see developers going
Mhm.
on social media, hey, I'm doing Duolingo and I'm learning 3 languages at one
Mhm.
time. I'm like, then why is it so hard for you to remember 50 semantic elements?
Mhm. Mhm. Mhm.
So it's this is one of the reasons why it is so important. And there is this article on the site of the Alley Collective. It's called Blind People Don't Visit My Website. And I'm yelling about this article in every podcast I get
Mhm.
on.
Mhm.
I'm like a broken record. That's where Jan Rietveld asked people on Twitter and on LinkedIn,
Mhm.
hey, if you're not depending on assistive technology, if you don't have any disabilities or you don't think you have some, uh, what are things on the web that are bothering you? The response she got was overwhelming. She got dozens and dozens and dozens of responses. And each and every of these items is an accessibility thing.
Mm.
Font sizes,
Mhm.
contrast.
Mhm.
Contrast, one of the things that is not in the WCEU or WCAG
Mhm.
guidelines, as they say, is contrast that is too strong. I really hope one day they will take it. But contrast issues or
Mhm.
websites that couldn't be read
Mhm.
on the phone outside,
Mhm.
or oh, these websites, wonderful. You come along and poof, pop up. You want my newsletter? Newsletter one,
Yeah.
newsletter
Yeah.
two. That's like slamming the door in someone's face.
Yeah.
So this too is why accessibility is important. It's about everybody. It's most important about people who have no choice, who really can't go anywhere without it, who are depending on it. And like we had this discussion when we were talking with Equalize Digital, and someone says, well, if you cannot do your taxes online, why don't you go to the tax office? And I'm like,
Mhm.
why would people have to take money out of their pocket, get out of their house, get on the bus or use their car and go to the tax office simply because some developers
Mhm.
did not
Yeah.
use semantic code?
Yeah.
Now, there's something very important I need to address in this regard as well. There is no shame in not having an accessible website.
Mhm.
There is absolutely not. If you didn't know this, if you had no
Mhm.
knowledge about this, that's like getting punished for something you didn't know you did.
Mhm.
But once you know about it,
Mhm.
it's very shameful not to do it,
Yeah. Yeah.
right?
It's
And if it's being broken down, it's like what David says here in the chat. I know David Donetto. He's a very nice
Mhm.
man. He is an accessibility specialist as well. And
Oh.
I hope he accepts me saying so. He's doing great videos on accessibility. He is researching all kinds
Uh-huh.
of stuff and talking about it on YouTube. He's got a great channel.
Okay. Cool.
Developers say, I don't have enough time to learn accessibility. And I'm like, hey, if a crazy chick like me could learn accessibility, you should be able to learn accessibility like this.
Uh-huh.
It just needs to be broken down to portions. We have this all in one culture in WordPress. This is one of the downsides of WordPress,
Right.
in my opinion.
Yeah.
Like anybody can be a do-it-yourself, pretend like I'm the web developer of the year. I'm going to buy this theme from Theme Forest, and then I'm going to tell some dumb person like, "Hey, I coded this. Isn't this cool?" It's fine. That's business, but the customer doesn't know it's inaccessible.
Yeah.
Neither does the person creating this website.
Yeah.
It's like there is this demeanor among certain people, like, "Why do I have to know this? I can buy this product, and if I buy this product, it has to be good. No, you can't assume that it is good. And I think it's very important for people. Like, let me give you a few tips. Otherwise, I'm just ranting here, right?
Okay.
To anybody out there, if you're one of those people who think, I would like to save myself some time and some money, which I can fully understand, by buying a theme or a page builder or whatever. Well, let's stick to buying a theme. Then you can get a demo of that theme. Envato, you can get it, but also in the repo. But let's say Envato. Then you take your keyboard. Now, this is people are going to listen, so not everybody's going to see this, but I'm pointing at the tab key, this key, this key, and that key. Shift, enter, tab, and spacebar. They're your friends. And you go into the demo of that website and you start using the tab key. And if after a while you don't see anything happening,
Okay. You understand it's not accessible.
it's not accessible.
Right.
Because something is happening, actually.
Yeah.
If you tab through a website, it's going to jump from link to link.
Yeah.
If I keep it simple, okay, a link is called a focusable element. So is a button. It's a focusable element. And it has visual support out of the box. Every browser shows you where the focus is, unless you consciously kill it. Removing a focus outline or an outline is a very conscious choice of a designer or a developer. And I'm not saying they're mean or they're bad or they're stupid. They're just ignorant. They don't know how bad that is. And then, of course, there's the designer. I was one of those designers. I mean, I was like, oh man, all these restrictions. I can't do this. I can't do that. It's all no, which is castrating. But you have to come from yes. And then suddenly I realized, why do I call myself a possibility advocate if I'm starting in thinking about impossibilities? Right?
Yes.
And this made me click where it comes to design. It's like companies, sure, they have their corporate identity, they have their colors, and then I'm like, okay, you can use colors. My website is like half a rainbow on purpose, just to show people you can use a lot of color.
Yeah.
Just don't use it in the wrong place.
Yeah, that's right.
Everything that's functional, text is functional. For example, links are functional. Forms are very functional. If you let form go over function, you're making a mistake. It's the same with, did you know that 1 in 12 born as man is colorblind?
Yeah.
That's
I didn't know.
And then 1 in 200 women, and they're like, oh, 1 in 200 women, that's only half a percent. Yeah, until you have this Amazon for women with only women stuff, and suddenly you're excluding 0.5% of your customer base. Do you know how much money that is?
Yeah.
And it's something I sometimes get attacked for, like saying someone actually called me. I'm going to say something very bad here. Someone called me a cold-hearted bitch. Because I'm talking about e-commerce. I'm talking about WooCommerce. I'm talking about Shopify. I'm talking about web shops. And I'm telling people, you're losing money.
Yeah.
And then people say, how can you talk about this accessibility and inclusivity? It's a social topic and you shouldn't be speaking about money. For me, it's very simple.
Yeah.
I don't care why someone makes a website accessible. I just want to have them make it accessible. And if they do it because it hurts in their wallet, fine. If that's what it takes for me to get through to them.
Yeah.
Because that's economics. And the other side of it is when I ask my blind friends, for example, Like how does it make you feel? If
Yeah.
if you go somewhere and again you can't use that website,
Yeah.
and they're like, we're not being taken for a fool. We're
Mm-hmm.
not being taken as we feel made small. We make money, we have a living, we buy shoes, we travel.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And it's the same thing with one of my friends. She's in a wheelchair, she can't stand, she
Mm-hmm.
can only use one arm,
Mm-hmm.
and she's steering her computer by voice control.
Mm-hmm.
I had never bothered to go deep into voice control. I'll be very honest about that, because that was at a level at that time that I didn't know anything. And then Rian Rietveld demoed voice control to me, because that's another thing.
Mm-hmm.
We accessibility people, because you call me expert, don't call me expert. Don't. I specialize in it, but we cannot be experts, because to be an expert in accessibility, you'd
Mm-hmm.
have to experience every
Wow.
possible limitation
Uh-huh.
there is, and then you'd have to know how to solve it.
Yeah.
And I'm a specialist.
Okay.
So I got into the topic of voice control, and suddenly I realized, hey, if that button is called A, but
Mm-hmm.
underwater under the
Mm-hmm.
code, it's called B,
Mm-hmm.
voice control is going to get confused.
Yeah.
And that's how you shut doors on people.
Yeah.
And what is most interesting is these companies, they go like, I'm spending thousands and thousands on SEO,
Mm-hmm.
and I have this bounce rate, and it's
Mm-hmm.
not going down. What am I paying these people for?
Mm-hmm.
And these people will go, we did everything.
Mm-hmm.
We advised you on everything.
Mm-hmm.
And then it turns out they automated alt text to give it the file name.
Um,
Now imagine
yeah.
you're calling, you're on a website, and you call your mother, and your mother can't see that site at that moment because she's without internet or without a computer. And you have to describe it, and then you go like, yeah, mom, I'm on a web shop, and they have t-shirts, and the description is YXZ200412.png. Right?
Yeah.
And then they have this high bounce rate, and they
Yeah.
cannot explain the
Yeah.
bounce rate. And
Yeah.
then usually takes 20 minutes on a website, just under the hood, even without tearing open the whole kinds of tools. And I'm like,
Mm-hmm.
your alt text, your fonts, your
Mm-hmm.
it's just very obvious stuff, and it's usually very easy to remediate.
Yeah. 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 Right. Right.
But I keep ranting about, if you don't stop me, I will just never stop ranting about accessibility.
Okay. Yeah, but it was such a visual explanation, actually. I think I got a lot of I got reminded of a lot of things while you were explaining. Okay, it was yeah, it's one of the key points I'd like to note once again is that accessibility is not just a social issue as like as hyped or as generally taken. It
Mm.
is also a really important aspect for your revenue, for your conversions, for your business. So developers, website owners, you have to really take care of it for your business, for money, not just for the social, for accountability or yeah, it's not just a
Yeah, and
social
most
issue.
important, it's
Yeah.
about users. It's
Yeah.
about users. Have your users test your stuff. Now, I was joking before. Like I said, I'm one of those old people now. I'm one of those
Mhm.
grumpy people that say, I don't know how to work anymore. I don't get it. But I'll give you an example. I am obviously very digitally literate. Yeah. I
Mhm.
have this digital banking app. And when I make a payment, I have to push a button and say, okay, here's the time code. It's fine. You can make this payment.
Mhm.
And then one day this app gets an update, and this button is like 3 times as wide.
Uh-huh.
and it wasn't working.
Uh-huh.
I was hitting that app and I had to call my landlord and say, sorry, landlord, for the office, I cannot pay the bill. My banking app is going, it doesn't work.
Uh-huh.
You know what they changed? It was not a
Uh-huh.
push button anymore. It was a slide.
Uh,
And I didn't know I had to slide because there was nothing telling me I had to slide.
Uh-huh.
What
Uh-huh.
if I didn't have any arms to slide with?
Yeah, 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 yeah,
And this is something for everybody to remember.
yeah. Yeah, you've said plenty of realistic examples of
Mm.
how accessibility can be enhanced or let's say implemented. Would you like to add more points briefly, maybe, or we move to another point?
Let's move to another point because I'll
Okay.
never stop talking about accessibility.
All right. All right. So, all right, then let's talk about WordCamp Europe then.
Mm.
Um, I wanted to know what is it that that seems really, really interesting, or that's most interesting part of WordCamp Europe that you'd like to share, or that would excite people who are going to join WordCamp Europe. The most exciting part of it, the highlight.
There are so many highlights.
Okay,
There are
let's
so
hear
many
the
highlights.
few.
Yeah. So if we talk about WordCamp itself,
Yeah.
the schedule is fantastic.
Mm-hmm.
They had a hard time making the selection because there were more than 500 applications.
Mm-hmm.
And at first we were worried, like, we didn't get so many applications this year. So we started banging the drums and suddenly we had 500.
Mm-hmm.
And they could only choose 50.
Yeah.
So the schedule is absolutely amazing.
Uh-huh.
Um, a highlight, it's in the former Fiat factory in Torino,
Uh-huh.
which is wild because Fiat used to test their cars on the roof. It has like a
Mm-hmm.
racetrack on the roof, and it
Mm-hmm.
has this turning. It looks like I don't know what, a spiral.
Mm-hmm.
Where you I was on a venue visit in November, and I really wish I brought my roller skates. um, you have a lot of opportunities to see much of the city of Torino,
Uh-huh.
but also there is just a lot of space in our venue. We're not going to be put in a can like tuna fish, we are
Uh,
we're having all kinds of corners and spaces, and I think this is a very good thing because everybody has an opportunity to mingle and talk, and
mm-hmm.
that's not always so easy in WordCamp locations. You organize
Yeah.
Kathmandu, so
Yeah.
you know
Yeah.
about that.
Yeah.
And those are the things that are pretty much taken for granted.
Yeah.
A wonderful thing about WordCamp Europe this year, but this is me talking as part of the sponsor team, is we do have a lot of new companies joining us.
Ah, okay. As
Small
sponsors.
businesses as a sponsor.
Uh-huh.
There's a lot of buzz going on already. A lot of people are coming earlier,
Uh-huh.
which is great in Torino.
Yeah.
The location can be reached really well.
Mm-hmm.
And I think we have an extraordinary team
Yeah.
this
Yeah.
year, especially the global leads are doing a great job.
Uh-huh.
It's an insane job to lead this on a remote basis where we're all working
Yeah.
during the days and stuff. Um, I am really proud that it's in Italy.
Yeah.
And what else can I tell about it? There's a lot of stuff that I don't want to tell because some of the things are like a surprise.
Okay.
I
Okay.
have to
That's
be
all
very
right.
careful of what I'm saying, what I'm telling you or
Yeah.
not, because some of the things shouldn't come out yet.
Yeah.
Um, Yeah, I think when I speak from the sponsor team perspective, some things have changed in regards to previous years.
Uh-huh.
There were more opportunities for sponsors to do stuff. What's
Right.
very important is that sponsors are part of the community as
Yeah.
much as
Yeah.
everybody else.
Yeah.
And I know I sound critical. In the past, this has gone forgotten sometimes, but they really are. It's
Yeah.
what most people don't realize is that a ticket for WordCamp, if we had to charge people what it
Yeah.
really
Yeah.
costs,
Yeah. It would be
most people
really
couldn't.
high. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
That's what this is for. And I can tell from the past WordCamp
Mm-hmm.
that I've seen businesses connect, I've seen people connect in ways that you can only have in a big WordCamp like that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. That's true.
And one of the things I would like to touch upon, because I'm still focused on inclusivity,
Yeah.
is something very important. There are a lot of women coming this year, which is
Mm-hmm.
great.
Well,
And I'm not saying it because I'm a woman, because
yeah.
I don't look at it that way for myself. I just
Mm-hmm.
am a person who goes
Yeah.
places,
Yeah.
but I know there are women out there who have a hard time going places, who have to struggle. A lot of people who think, oh, I'm not worth it, or I'm too stupid, or
Yeah. Yeah.
whatever. No, you're not. Nobody is. And there are people taking the stage for the first time,
Mm-hmm.
which is
Cool.
incredibly courageous.
Yeah.
We have a fantastic team coaching people when they want to speak.
Mm-hmm.
And I think more than ever, this camp is an opportunity for many people to open up, to join. And someone said on Twitter a while back, like, oh, when I come to WordCamp, everybody seems to know everybody.
Mm-hmm.
And I
Mm-hmm.
felt alone. I felt excluded because I
Mm-hmm.
was like, I'm not part of this clan. I don't know anybody.
Yeah.
And we've taken that to heart
Mm-hmm.
as an organizing team.
Yeah.
But I wanted to ask everybody who's going to join WordCamp Europe this year, please remember, a lot of these people who are coming for the first time.
Yeah.
Embrace them. If you see someone walking around like, oh, I don't know, and is not at that point wearing a sticker or any sign like, hey, I don't want to talk, because we have
Mm-hmm.
that too, of course.
Oh, okay.
Invite them. Ask, who are you? What do you do? What can I do for
Uh-huh.
you? What would
Uh-huh.
you, what is there something you want to teach me? Is there something I can teach you? Because this is what our community is about. It's
Yeah.
this saying, we came for the software and we stayed for the people.
Yeah. Yeah. Beautifully said. Yeah.
This, I think, is what WordCamp is about in
Yeah.
essence. A lot of people, like-minded people who are all doing their thing, making
Yeah.
their living,
Yeah.
meeting with friends and family they didn't know they had. Yeah, so that's what I wanted to add to the conversation.
Hey, thank you so much for sharing. Now, I'm feeling this vibe from within. Oh, I'm going to miss. I'd really, really like to make it to WordCamp Europe. Yeah, it's already too late for applying this
Mhm.
year. Most possibly next year or the other years in the future. And yeah, it sounds really, really interesting. I think I was checking WordCamp Europe's updates on Twitter last year as well, and I think there were about 800 contributors on the
Ah,
contributor day, right?
contributor day was crazy, especially in Porto.
Uh-huh.
We thought 500 were coming and we had
Yeah, yeah,
800. So what
yeah.
did we do? We shared our food. That's what we
Yeah,
did. Yeah, it
yeah. I
was
think that was the
amazing.
largest number
Yeah,
of
and this
people
year
coming
again, I think we're
together.
about 500 people in contributor day, and it's just if you see how much is achieved in one of those
Yeah.
in each and every team.
Yeah.
And it's lovely. It's the table leads also, I think, deserve extra attention. If there is any company out there thinking like, I don't want to sponsor WordCamp itself, but I would like to do something in sponsoring, find out who the table leads are and talk to them and see if you can sponsor them on a personal level, because leading a table at Contributor Day is extremely intensive. It takes a lot of preparation. You have to coach people, guide them. And it feels to me sometimes they fall through the cracks. And they shouldn't, because they work really hard. And it's come and talk to us. We're all in Slack. We're all in Make WordPress. We're all on social media, most of us. You will always find someone within our organization to take you to other people, because that's how we keep WordCamp a quality event.
Sounds so wonderful. All right. So I think we have almost covered all the things we wanted to talk about. Okay. And other than that, I think we would also love to hear a few things from you about how you are working. I think you work remotely, right? Like everybody else? Okay. So how do you keep up working well and looking fine while working remotely? Although you mentioned I'm old a few times already, you look very, very beautiful and very
Thank you.
fresh and very energetic. So maybe a few wellness and productivity tips from you, and also how to thrive in the WordPress ecosystem. A few things like concluding remarks for our
Okay.
viewers.
Oh, those are a few different topics. So let's first start with the topic, like, how do you stay fresh and happy when you're working remote?
Yeah.
Okay. Keep your jogging suit in the closet. Go. It sounds weird, but if you go to work the way you would go to the office, you're sitting there, you're sitting up straight.
Yeah.
I recently almost tweeted like, is there anybody else putting on perfume before they go on a video call? And I know it sounds like almost ridiculous, because like, well, you're sitting at home and nobody can see you're wearing your pajama trousers.
Yeah.
But this is a psychological thing, and I had to learn it myself, because jogging pants were my middle name. Also remember to keep talking to each other. So recently I reached out to someone who is very well known in the community. And I had decided like, hey, I want to talk to my peers more. I miss that. And this person, I'm gonna name him because I don't think he would like it.
Okay.
But I just contacted him and I said, like so many, like I contacting you. How are you doing? What's up with you? I haven't talked to you for so long. And I'm taking the time, and I've done this to a couple of people, and but more people responded like, we are always reaching out to other people, and you are reaching out to me. Now that teaches something, that says, don't assume because someone is very expressive or very extroverted that they are easy, or that they are not feeling alone or lonely, I should say. We're all human beings. We all have feelings, and this goes for everybody. This also goes for the poor people in help desks getting yelled at. All right. And especially remote, when you work remote, reserve time for what I call digital coffee talks. I've been inviting people for digital coffee talks. And anyone can do that with me as well. If you go to my website, it's going to say, okay, book a time. I mean, I can always say, hey, sorry, I would like to change the date or the time so I can give you enough attention. But yeah, this is, I think, essential, staying in touch. Another thing also important is to understand that not everybody likes to be on camera when you work remote.
Yeah.
And I, for example, I get very tired from on-camera stuff because my brain is just going, it's trying to check, and then I see you, and I see Dave, his nice picture at the fountain. What is it? I think that's a fountain. Yeah.
Yeah.
And
Looks like a fountain.
I see Siva. My brain can't choose who to focus on. But even if you are like me and you're someone who is having difficulties, don't be afraid to say so. A lot of people are like, but that's shameful. It's shameful to admit that you can't do or can't deal or but if that means you're victimizing yourself, why would you do it? I sometimes just say it. I say to people, I need you to turn off your camera. It's not even me turning it off. I just need you to do that. Or I'm going to take the screen away. And if you are open and you're working remote and you talk to people like that, you would be surprised how many people are positive about that. It's the same like I doodle. I make drawings all the time. And then I'm sitting there and I'm doing this, I've been fighting for the past hour not to do that. Because that's how I deal with information. Anyone working remote, having difficulties focusing on talks, just speak up. Nobody's going to bite you.
Yeah.
All right. And you had another one. What was the last question you asked me?
It's about wellness tips. That's all covered.
It's all covered. Okay. Yeah. And I mean, the obvious: drink enough, eat enough, move enough.
Okay, so I wanted to ask, what time is it now for you?
It's 3 minutes past 6 in the evening.
Okay, in the evening. All right. So
and for you
have not
it's
had
like
your dinner yet? Maybe.
Oh yeah, dinner. Oh, dinner.
It's almost time for you, or when do you have your dinner?
I'm supposed to have dinner, but I'm currently totally in hyper focus with some video recordings I'm creating that I'm going to finish. And that's probably the thing about having ADHD. I go into hyper focus and I don't want to do anything else. So I'm a nightmare for everybody who is living with me because I won't cook. I was like, I'm not cooking tonight unless you want to wait until 10 p.m. Yeah, so it's dinner time. What time is it for you?
For us, it's 49 minutes past 9, so about 11 minutes
It's late for you. Oh wow!
It's all right.
Why didn't you?
We have had our
day?
dinner already.
Yeah.
Now, after this talk, we will go to sleep.
Well, I want to thank you very much for having me, for inviting me, and for your lovely questions. And thank you for being our media partner. It's absolutely great, especially knowing that you won't come to Europe because of the visa issues. And it just made me think that we should talk to some people in the organization to see if we can do something for the people where it lasts a year. Can't make any promises, but we can try, right? This is one of the things I learned as a kid is like, no is the answer you already have. What about getting a yes? So let's see about that. So you're making so much effort and I love it. And I want to thank you for that. And I know you are investing in this from your company. And that is sponsoring too. So for everybody listening to this was Go with WP, and they are rocking it, people.
That's
Thank you so much. Thank you
very
so much.
fortunate to
I
have.
got the do the woo vibe now.
Mm.
We
All
are also
right.
very fortunate to have you, your experience to tell our people. Our people is hungry about this, and they do not know about this level of
Mm.
experience because you are sharing a live tips, not the coding tips and not other tips. And
Mm.
thank you, Sunita, for initiating the conversation, and we are having fun.
Yeah, we
Yeah.
are.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's like this. And yeah, yes, the talking is will be continue after this session. Also, we can talk in Europe or
We
post
can.
in the
Online.
next
We
session.
could, yeah,
Yeah,
we
next
can talk online. We
yeah,
can
yeah.
do sessions. We can share information and tips. I can share accessibility tips. I
Yeah,
can also share a lot of tips about working with full site editing because I
Mm-hmm.
am totally crazy about full site editing.
yeah, it's new, and I have also some question about that full site editing tips, but due to this time frame, I'll talk this later,
Maybe some other day.
some other
Some other day. You know how to find me, right?
Yeah.
day.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So and as a last thing in this position, I also want to thank everybody in WordCamp Europe itself and the organizing team, my teammates at the sponsor team who are doing a great job and who've been facing some challenges that they overcame, the global leads who are doing their best, the attendee team, the volunteer team. I don't know who else you're going to interview in the future, but you're going to have a lot of fun. They're all
Yeah.
very expressive people.
Yeah.
And IT team is doing great. Oh, and the communication team. Oh, I wouldn't want to be in their shoes. It is so much work.
We are going to talk about volunteer team and content team in next our webinar. Most probably they are the last our guest for before the WordCamp event. WordCamp
Mm-hmm.
event. If we come to the venue, we will definitely get other peoples also. They can also share this kind of information to WordPress community. Okay, by the time, okay, let's conclude. Sunda, it's your time to conclude the video.
Okay. Yeah, thank you so much once again, Anne, for such a lovely conversation. I think it's one of the warmest conversations I've had. You are such a warm person. I really like to meet you in person
Thank you.
and yeah, talk to you. Hopefully we'll meet some
Mm.
time in the future in some WordCamp, even though we wouldn't be able to make it to WordCamp Europe. Please come to WordCamp
Mm.
Asia. I'm almost sure I'll be in the next WordCamp Asia in Philippines.
Manila, yeah. And
Yeah.
find me,
So
contact me on LinkedIn. Just send me a DM. Just connect.
yeah.
Both of you.
Yeah. So please try to come to Philippines, Manila,
Mm.
and we might be able to meet. And yeah, thank you so much for sharing all the insights about accessibility, about the Weave, about WordPress, about contribution, and your remote working and wellness tips. Those are really wonderful tips. Thank you. It's so nice to meet you, and hope to see you and talk to you in the future again.
Okay.
Same here.
Bye bye. Have a nice time.
Okay,
Bye.
bye bye.